That was it yesterday. If somebody said to me, I'm sorry, I'm losing the voice, a lot of talking at work. If somebody said to me, what did you get up to yesterday? I'd most probably end up saying, no, not a lot really. I got up, had breakfast, took the dog out for a walk, did a live for the main channel, nearly lost an eye, had a barbecue, and then went to work. It's pretty nonchalant really, but there's a bit of a sentence in there that stands out, doesn't it? Not the barbecue. Nearly lost an eye. And it's like, what on earth? And you know what's going to happen about this scenario is that I'll actually forget about this in most probably about a year's time. And it's an actual event that actually happened yesterday. Whereas a perceived event that happened when I was about 16, so it wasn't really an actual event, but it was perceived to me to be an actual event, has stuck with me throughout most of my life. So the difference between an actual event and what I perceive to be an actual event, it's strange how I'm not going to call it, let's call it the fake event, had a longer lasting effect on my life over something that actually happened. Before we start, I will tell you at the end how I was 10 centimetres from death, actual death, and I don't even think about it. And then because of something like yesterday that happened, it comes back and you go, oh yeah. And I'm sure there must be numerous people like yourselves who've had this as well. First of all, before I talk about the perceived event, let me tell you about yesterday. That is the culprit yesterday. For those of you who watched the live on the main channel, Rick and Shelley, you'd have seen that after the live, we've got family over, we said we'll have a barbecue. So when we have a barbecue, as always, Shelley does the cooking, she likes to cook, but you know, she asks me always, can I start the barbecue? The reason being, it's a mucky job, innit? You got the coals and stuff like that. Plus it's caveman, hug, fire, and yeah, no problem at all, we can do that. We're not that experienced in stuff like that. As always, screwed up a load of paper, put it underneath as a base layer, put the coal on top, but put some liquid paraffin on it, which is safe liquid paraffin to use for barbecues. Put the coal on top and then lit it, and then watched as the fire off the paper tried to hit the coals to create the fire that's needed. As always, what's needed to help along is a little bit of wind. So me, as always, I've done all the time, I got right up close to the barbecue and started blowing on the embers like. Now, you do this normally for about 5 or 10 minutes until it takes a proper hold and the charcoal becomes white, and then you know it's hot and then you can just leave it. So I'm mostly about 10 minutes into this, and as I'm on my 10-minute in, 2 seconds, the washing machine's doing me head in. As I'm blowing about 7 minutes in, you hear the crackle. You hear the crackle of the embers, which is quite a satisfying noise actually. It's weird. And then all of a sudden, an ember flew out and actually hit me in the corner of my eye here. And the thing about the ember is it's white hot. It's not red hot, it's white hot. And that's most probably, I'd say, about 5 millimeters away from my actual eye. No, from the pupils, but it's only like a couple of millimeters away from the actual iris itself. And straight away I jumped back and jolted, shut my eye, and I went, oh, that's it, I think I've got an ember in my eye. That's it, that's most probably blindness, because you put heat on there and it's just instantly gone. After a while I was like, no, it's not the eye, thank goodness for that. I thought, what is it? Because it really, like, the pain was unbelievable. I went, has it hit the tear duct in my eye? I don't even know if you can see it. Can you see it? I don't even know. Turns out, I think I've just missed the tear duct and I've hit the skin of a very soft part of the skin on the eye. And funnily enough, as white hot heat, it doesn't actually hurt. White hot doesn't hurt. And that was until later I got in the shower to go and have a shower to go to work, and washed my face, and I pulled my finger over my eye and I felt it there, because I forgot about it straight away, and I felt it there again, and the pain, I was like, wow. So it's like, come on DNA, you've had me before, let's get me again, let's get this healing process sorted please, because that really did hurt. So the actual fact there is that's an actual accident. That could have ended up where the day could have been, got up, walked the dog, did the live, lost the eye, went to hospital and all that, but it didn't. It went up, nearly lost my eye, had a barbecue, went to work and just carried on as normal. And that is an actual event that you just, in a year's time, I'll forget about, because it wasn't a major catastrophe, it wasn't anything, but it could have actually been. The perceived catastrophe was when I was 16, was a really weird one, because that has had an everlasting impact on my life, and that was when I was flying, fully enough, here to Tenerife. I was my mother and a partner moved here when I was just shy of 16 years of age, and because I was trying to learn golf and the weather here was great, I was doing a lot of backwards and forwards from here, flying on my own. Didn't have an issue with that. I knew the flight inside out. I knew the routine inside out. I'd done it so many times. I think I must have been about 18 when this happened, actually. And, you know, if those that don't know Tenerife, obviously there's a big mountain called Teide. Normally when you tend to see it, you know you're on your descent because you're coming into the island itself. The rule tends to be the flights go 10 kilometres out, 10 kilometres across, 10 kilometres in, or 10 miles, 10 miles, 10 miles, just because they keep it on it's like a car park really, isn't it, when it comes in. And I was looking out the window and I'm on the right hand side of the plane and I can see Teide on my right hand side, so I'm actually coming in the other way. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I'm sure we're too high. We're over the sea still. I'm like, I'm sure we're too high. We're too close, too high. What is going on? And I've got a feeling, right, at the same time I said that, the pilot, reading his paper, almost went, oh crap, we're here. Dropped the descent of the plane, angled the plane and dropped it, and as it fell out of the sky like that. Now the thing is, when you're above the sea, you look down, the sea's a hell of a lot closer. And this drop must have been about 4 or 5 seconds. Now, on reality, what I think most probably happened is he was doing his normal descent, and we hit an air pocket, most probably, and then the plane came out of the air pocket. Because it was going that way, and I'm on that side looking down at it, I actually went, oh, this is it. I'm done. This is it. And the thing for me is, that perceived reality for me gave me a fear of flying for best part of the next 25 years. I did not fly. I did not like flying. I flew, but I absolutely was petrified of going on a plane. Had to hide it from my kids, had to hide it from my ex-wife. I used to sit on a different seat away. They had the three. I had an aisle seat on the other side, just so I could be away with my own thoughts. Now I've got over it, but that was a perceived reality that when the plane goes like that, I was thinking, yeah, that's me done. We're goodbye now. And it's weird because that's most probably an everyday occurrence in flying. I've been on Cathay Pacifics that used to go from Hong Kong to Holland. I got on the plane from Holland as it went from Holland to Manchester, and I've had the worst turbulence in the world and it never ever bothered me. But that one account of that absolutely put me off, gave me a fear of flying for the best part of 25 years. And it's weird because it's a perceived reality of what actually happened and not an actual reality. So, the day I nearly died, that is an actual reality. I actually was about 10 centimetres away from death. Didn't even think about it, and I've not thought about it since, for a long time anyway. I was 23, 24 years of age. I was a golf pro in Holland. I had just left the golf club in Veerden. Now what's funny about the roads in Holland that you need to try and think about here is you've got a main road in Holland which is like it's like a single dual carriageway, so it's like a fast road. But then on either side of the fast roads, or at the side of it, you have what's called, and this is a great word, this one, you ready for this? Parallelweg. You've got a parallel road. Now the Parallelweg, it's a great sound, that road was where you used to come off the main road, go onto the parallel road, and from there you could do your turn lefts, or park up, or you could then do other stuff. So it's a lot quieter road that runs exactly alongside it. Now the golf club sat on this Parallelweg, so I came out of there. I was driving up the road and a friend of mine was in the car in front and I needed to speak to him, so I flashed him and we both pulled over on the road. As this dual carriageway is going like this, we're on this parallel road, and we both got out and started and had a conversation. Now the conversation we had was, we're actually stood between the two cars. So the cars, you imagine cars parked next to each other like this. This is the front of my car, that's the back of his, and we were stood in here having a conversation, and the conversation maybe 10-15 minutes long. When the conversation came to an end, I said to him, I'll catch you later, I'll see you soon. And I stepped back to go to my driver to go back into the car. At that moment, because I'm looking at him, just as I'm looking at the camera now, I saw the look on his eyes of like, what on earth? And it was like a look of fear, of like something major's about to happen, which was really strange. And at that same instant, a car wing mirror of a car that was coming up the Parallelweg far too fast, most probably about 50 miles an hour, absolutely rattled my arse so hard that he actually spun me onto his car. And the guy just carried on. I was like, his face was horror. I was just like going, what? It's just like somebody's massively whacked me on the back. So what has gone on there? Because I didn't have a clue. And it turns out that the guy, I'd stepped back into traffic. I'd stepped back into traffic, but he was also going too fast. But I'd stepped back into the traffic of the parallelweg. And if I'd have stepped back 10 centimetres further, or it'd have been a fraction of a second earlier, I'd most probably, sorry, fraction of a second earlier? Yeah, earlier, he'd most probably hit me and I'd have bounced straight over his car. And I think most probably the speed he was going, I wouldn't be here today. Now that's an actual event. And that actual event doesn't sit in my brain. Yet the perceived event of the aircraft that falls out of the sky, even though it's most probably a controlled action, that does sit in my head. And that's what's a bit weird, isn't it? Now I'm sure that you guys have got stories like that as well. I'm sure you must have through your life as you go through. Calvin's got one. If he was up, I was going to ask Calvin what his was, because his actually happened here in Callao, Slovakia, where we live. Because Calvin grew up here, so it happened here. But that might be for another story. I just want to share that with you. Just thought it'd be quite an interesting story. The day I nearly lost my eye yesterday, and I didn't, so I went to work. As always, you know what to do, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys. Ta-da.